There comes a moment in life when you've done all the worrying you can do, all the planning you can manage, all the chasing your heart can survive, and the only thing left is trust. That's the moment everything begins to change. So many people believe they have to force miracles, control every outcome, and stress over every detail before life finally rewards them. But sometimes the greatest breakthrough happens when you finally relax, when you stop gripping so tightly, when you stop asking when every 5 minutes. Because the energy of desperation pushes things away, while the energy of calm expectation pulls blessings closer. And today, I need you to hear this deeply. What is meant for you does not need to be hunted down in fear. It can arrive faster than you ever imagined, even the very same day you decide to trust. The universe responds differently when your heart is peaceful. Opportunities appear, answers come, doors open unexpectedly. The phone rings, the message arrives, the solution finds you. Not because you begged harder, but because you finally aligned yourself with faith instead of fear. Relax and trust. Your breakthrough is not as far away as your doubts have convinced you. In fact, this could be the very day everything begins to shift in your favor. You know what's exhausting? Pretending you're okay while silently wondering if anything in your life is ever going to change. Smiling in front of people while your mind is full of questions. Waiting for that message, that opportunity, that breakthrough, that one sign that tells you everything is finally moving in your favor. Most people think faith becomes easy after they see results. But real transformation begins when you choose to trust before there's any evidence at all. That's the hard part. That's the part nobody claps for. Trusting while the door is still closed. Believing while nothing looks different. Staying calm while life feels uncertain. But that quiet kind of faith, that's the kind that changes everything. So many people delay their own blessings because they keep checking the outside world for confirmation. They say, I'll believe when I see it. But life has a strange way of responding to the people who believe before they see anything at all. Think about it. A seed grows underground long before anyone sees a flower. Just because you can't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. Some of the biggest shifts in your life are taking place in silence right now, behind the scenes, beyond your understanding. And the moment you stop panicking over what you cannot control, you create room for miracles to breathe. There's something powerful about waking up and deciding that fear no longer gets to lead your life. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're tired of carrying anxiety like it's your full-time job. Fear keeps asking, what if it never works out? But trust quietly says, what if it does? That one small shift changes your energy completely. People underestimate how much their mindset affects the way they experience life. When you constantly expect disappointment, you walk through life tense, guarded, and emotionally exhausted. But when you trust that something good can happen at any moment, your entire presence changes. You become lighter, more open, more alive. And let's be honest, control is addictive. We want timelines, guarantees, clear answers. We want to know exactly how everything will happen before we allow ourselves to relax. But life doesn't work that way. Some blessings arrive in ways you could never predict. Some opportunities appear when you stop obsessing over them. Some prayers are answered the moment you finally release your grip and say, I trust that what's meant for me will find me. That sentence alone carries so much peace. Because the truth is, constantly forcing, chasing, and overthinking only drains you. Trust restores you. You don't need to have your whole future figured out today. You just need enough faith to believe that the next step will appear when it's supposed to. That's how growth works. Nobody sees the entire staircase at once. You simply take one step, then another, and somehow life meets you there. But if you refuse to move until you have complete certainty, you'll stay stuck in the same place forever. Trust is what moves you forward even when you can't see the full picture. There are people listening to this right now who are carrying silent battles nobody knows about. You're trying to stay strong while your heart feels tired. You've been disappointed before, and now trusting again feels risky. But don't let past pain convince you that good things are no longer possible for you. Your story is not over. One bad season does not define your entire future. Just because something didn't work out before doesn't mean nothing ever will. Sometimes delays are protection. Sometimes closed doors are redirections. Sometimes what felt like rejection was actually life preparing you for something better. And maybe today is the day you stop fighting yourself. Maybe today is the day you stop assuming the worst before life even has a chance to surprise you. Imagine how different your life would feel if you walked into each day expecting things to work out instead of expecting disaster. Imagine waking up with peace instead of pressure. Imagine trusting that what belongs to you cannot miss you. That kind of mindset changes your relationships, your decisions, your confidence, your entire energy. The beautiful thing about trust is that it doesn't require perfect conditions. You can trust while things are still uncertain. You can believe while the answer hasn't arrived yet. You can stay hopeful even in the middle of waiting. And sometimes, the very moment you finally relax and release the pressure, life moves faster than you imagined. The call comes. The opportunity appears. The breakthrough happens. Not because you forced it, but because you finally allowed yourself to believe it was possible. So tonight, stop carrying tomorrow like a burden. Stop treating every delay like the end of your story. Breathe, trust, let go of the need to control every outcome. Your life can change in one day, one moment, one unexpected opportunity. And the peace you feel when you finally choose trust over fear, that peace is powerful. Because when you trust before evidence appears, you're telling life, I still believe something beautiful is on its way. And that belief alone can open doors you never thought possible. Have you ever noticed how the things you desperately chase seem to run even farther away from you? The more you overthink, the more anxious you become. The more pressure you put on yourself, the heavier life feels. It's like your mind never gets a moment of peace. You keep checking your phone, replaying conversations, worrying about timing, wondering when everything will finally fall into place. And somewhere in the middle of all that stress, you forget something important. Life flows better when your energy is calm, not forced, not desperate, calm. That's the secret most people miss. Calm energy attracts faster than panic ever will. People often believe success, love, money, and opportunities only come through struggle and emotional exhaustion. They think if they worry enough, somehow they're being responsible. But worry has never created a miracle. Stress has never accelerated destiny. In fact, the more emotionally chaotic you become, the harder it is to recognize the opportunities already trying to enter your life. A restless mind blocks clarity. A peaceful mind notices possibilities. That's why some people walk into blessings effortlessly, while others keep fighting invisible battles inside themselves every single day. Think about the moments in your life when things unexpectedly worked out. Most of the time, it happened when you finally stopped forcing everything. When you relaxed, when you said, I can't keep exhausting myself over this. Suddenly, the answer arrived. The connection happened. The opportunity appeared out of nowhere. That's because calmness creates space, and space is where breakthroughs enter. But when your mind is crowded with fear, doubt, and pressure, you can't even hear your own intuition anymore. There's a powerful difference between caring about your dreams and emotionally suffocating them. You are allowed to want more for your life. You are allowed to pray for better days, bigger opportunities, healthier relationships, financial freedom, and peace. But the moment your desire turns into desperation, your energy changes. Desperation says, I need this right now or I'll fall apart. Calm trust says, I know what's meant for me is already making its way toward me. One energy drains you, the other strengthens you. Strengthens. And honestly, calm energy is rare today. Everyone is rushing, everyone is comparing, everyone feels pressured to have life figured out immediately. Social media makes people feel behind every single day. Someone else is getting engaged, someone else is buying a house, someone else is becoming successful. And without realizing it, people begin carrying this constant internal panic that whispers, you're running out of time. But life is not a race, your journey is not late. What's meant for you doesn't disappear just because it hasn't arrived yet. You don't attract better things into your life by constantly living in fear. You attract better things when your heart feels safe enough to believe good things are possible. That's why inner peace matters so much. Peace changes the way you speak, the way you think, the way you respond to problems. Even your presence becomes different. Calm people don't waste energy trying to control every outcome. They trust themselves, they trust timing, and because of that, they move through life with a quiet confidence that naturally attracts opportunities. Sometimes the biggest thing blocking your blessing is not the situation itself, it's your attachment to fear. You've been expecting disappointment for so long that stress has started to feel normal. You've been preparing for worst case scenarios instead of preparing your mind for unexpected joy. But imagine what would happen if you woke up tomorrow and decided not to carry fear into every moment. Imagine choosing peace before proof. Imagine saying to yourself, something good can happen for me today. That one thought alone shifts your energy more than you realize. And no, calm energy does not mean you stop taking action. It doesn't mean you become lazy or careless. It means you stop operating from panic. You stop begging life to move faster. You stop assuming every delay is a disaster. You still work toward your goals, but you do it from a grounded place instead of an emotionally broken one. There's strength in that kind of peace, real strength. Some of the most beautiful things in life arrive quietly. Love enters naturally. Opportunities appear unexpectedly. Healing happens slowly. Your breakthrough may not come through chaos. It may come through stillness, through patience, through finally deciding that your peace matters more than your need to control everything. And the truth is, people can feel your energy before you even speak. When you carry calmness, you become magnetic, not because your life is perfect, but because your spirit is no longer fighting itself. So if you've been exhausting yourself trying to force answers, force timing, force outcomes, maybe this is your reminder to breathe. Life does not respond well to desperation, but it responds powerfully to belief, peace, and trust. Calm energy tells the universe, I know what belongs to me will arrive at the right moment. And strangely enough, that's often when things arrive faster than expected. Your next blessing does not need your panic to appear. Your future does not need your constant fear to work out. Relax your heart. Release the pressure. Trust that life can still surprise you in beautiful ways. Because sometimes the very thing you've been praying for starts moving toward you the moment you stop chasing it in fear and start expecting it with peace. Have you ever been so tired of trying that you just sat there in silence and thought, maybe I need to stop forcing everything? Not because you're giving up, but because your soul is exhausted from carrying the weight of constant chasing, chasing approval, chasing love, chasing opportunities, chasing answers, chasing a future you're terrified won't happen unless you push harder every single second. And the painful truth is, the more people chase things from a place of fear, the farther peace seems to move away from them. That's why one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life is this: stop chasing, start allowing. For so long, many of us were taught that struggle is the only path to receiving, that if we aren't constantly stressing, overworking, worrying, or controlling every detail, then somehow we aren't doing enough. But life doesn't always respond to force. Some things bloom naturally when you stop gripping them so tightly. Think about sleep. The harder you try to force yourself to sleep, the more awake you become. Happiness can feel the same way. Love can feel the same way. Success can feel the same way. Sometimes the answer is not more pressure. Sometimes the answer is release. There's a difference between working towards something and emotionally chasing it. Healthy effort feels focused and grounded. Chasing feels desperate, fearful, and draining. Chasing makes you feel like your happiness depends entirely on getting one specific outcome immediately. It puts your nervous system in survival mode. Suddenly, every delay feels personal. Every unanswered message feels like rejection. Every obstacle feels like proof that life is against you. And eventually, you become so emotionally exhausted that you forget how to enjoy the present moment at all. But allowing is different. Allowing means trusting that what is meant for you can find you without destroying your peace first. It means understanding that not every door needs to be forced open. It means realizing you do not have to beg for what aligns naturally with your life. Some people spend years trying to convince others to choose them, love them, value them, or see their worth. But the right opportunities, the right people, and the right blessings won't require you to abandon yourself just to keep them. And honestly, one of the hardest things to do is relax while you're waiting for your life to change. Because waiting can make people feel powerless. You start thinking maybe you're behind, maybe everyone else is moving forward while you're stuck standing still. But just because your breakthrough hasn't happened yet doesn't mean nothing is unfolding. Some things take time beneath the surface. A flower doesn't bloom the same day the seed is planted. Yet every single day, growth is still happening underground where nobody can see it. The problem is that most people keep interrupting their own peace by obsessively checking for evidence. Is it here yet? Is anything changing? Am I getting closer? And without realizing it, they keep feeding anxiety instead of trust. But allowing requires patience. It requires emotional maturity. It asks you to believe that life can still work in your favor even when you don't have all the answers right now. You deserve a life where your heart feels lighter. You deserve relationships where you don't have to constantly prove your worth. You deserve opportunities that don't require you to live in fear every day. And the moment you stop chasing from desperation, something incredible happens. You begin reconnecting with yourself again. Your mind becomes clearer, your energy softens, you stop making decisions out of panic, you stop begging life to move according to your timeline. And instead of trying to control every outcome, you begin flowing with trust. That doesn't mean you stop caring about your goals. It doesn't mean you stop dreaming. It simply means you stop attaching your entire emotional stability to one outcome. You start understanding that your value does not decrease because something takes longer than expected. Delays are not always denials. Sometimes life is rearranging things behind the scenes in ways you cannot yet understand. There are moments when letting go becomes more powerful than holding on. Not because you no longer want something, but because you finally realize peace matters too. You realize you cannot spend your whole life emotionally chasing things that continuously drain your spirit. Some things are meant to flow into your life naturally, not through constant suffering. And maybe this is the reminder your heart needed today. Stop exhausting yourself trying to force certainty out of life. Stop believing every blessing must arrive through struggle. You are allowed to breathe while your dreams are still unfolding. You are allowed to smile while things are still uncertain. You are allowed to trust even before the evidence appears. Because the truth is, life often moves in the most unexpected moments. Sometimes the opportunity appears when you least expect it. Sometimes the healing begins after you finally release the pressure. Sometimes the breakthrough arrives the moment you stop desperately chasing it and start allowing it to come naturally. So relax your grip a little, trust a little more. You don't have to force every chapter of your life into existence. Some things are already making their way toward you. And when you stop chasing from fear and start allowing from trust, you create space for life to surprise you in ways you never imagined possible. What if the miracle you've been begging for is closer than you think? What if the breakthrough, the opportunity, the answer, the unexpected shift you've been waiting on could happen today? Not someday far away. Not months from now. Today. Most people wake up already expecting disappointment. They expect delays, stress, rejection, and bad news because life has conditioned them to prepare for the worst. And after enough painful experiences, hope starts feeling dangerous. People stop expecting miracles because they're afraid of being let down again. But sometimes the biggest thing standing between you and a life-changing moment is the simple belief that good things can still happen for you. There's power in expectation. The energy you carry into each day shapes the way you experience life. If you constantly expect problems, your mind becomes trained to search for what's wrong. But when you begin expecting miracles, even small ones, your perspective shifts completely. Suddenly, you notice opportunities you once ignored. You become more open to possibilities. Your heart feels lighter because instead of bracing for disaster, you're finally leaving room for surprise, joy, and blessings to enter your life. Think about how many miracles people miss because they've convinced themselves nothing good ever happens to them. They dismiss opportunities before trying. They doubt compliments. They sabotage connections. They assume rejection before getting an answer. Fear becomes so normal that they stop realizing how much it controls their decisions. But expecting miracles is not about pretending life is perfect. It's about refusing to let negativity become your permanent mindset. It's about believing that one phone call can change your life, one conversation can open a door, one unexpected moment can shift your entire future. And honestly, life changes fast. Faster than people realize. One day you're crying over something you thought would break you forever, and another day you're smiling because life introduced you to something better. One moment everything feels uncertain, and then suddenly clarity arrives. That's why you cannot lose hope just because things feel heavy right now. Your current situation is not your final destination. Some blessings arrive quietly when you least expect them. The problem is, many people spend more time rehearsing disaster than imagining success. They mentally prepare for rejection over and over again. What if it doesn't work? What if they say no? What if nothing changes? But imagine if you started asking different questions. What if this works out beautifully? What if today surprises me? What if life is secretly aligning things in my favor right now? Those thoughts carry a completely different energy, and energy matters more than most people think. You attract differently when your heart is hopeful instead of fearful. Hope makes you move differently, speak differently, show up differently. A hopeful person walks into life expecting possibility instead of punishment. That doesn't mean they never feel pain or uncertainty. It simply means they refuse to let fear define every chapter of their story. And maybe today is the perfect day to stop assuming the worst about your future. Maybe today is the day you finally allow yourself to believe that miracles are not reserved for other people. Too many people think blessings happen to everyone except them. They celebrate others while secretly believing life forgot about them. But your story matters too. Your dreams matter too. Your healing matters too. Just because your journey looks different doesn't mean it's failing. Sometimes miracles don't arrive in dramatic ways. Sometimes they show up as peace after months of anxiety. Sometimes they appear as strength during a hard season. Sometimes they arrive through unexpected support, sudden clarity, or a new opportunity that changes everything. And sometimes, yes, life can turn around in a single day. Never underestimate how quickly things can shift when the timing is right. But expecting miracles also requires trust. You cannot constantly speak negativity over your future and then wonder why you feel hopeless. Your words carry energy. The way you think about your life affects your spirit deeply. If every day begins with fear, stress, and doubt, eventually your mind starts believing those emotions are permanent. That's why protecting your mindset matters so much. Feed your mind hope. Feed your spirit possibility. Give yourself permission to believe in beautiful outcomes again. There are people listening to this who have almost given up emotionally. You've smiled through pain nobody noticed. You've stayed strong while carrying silent worries in your heart. And maybe you're tired. Maybe part of you wants to stop believing because disappointment feels safer than hope. But please don't close your heart completely. Your life still has chapters you haven't seen yet. There are still moments ahead that will make you grateful you didn't quit on yourself. So wake up tomorrow, expecting something good. Expect peace. Expect answers. Expect unexpected blessings. Expect opportunities. Expect healing. Expect life to meet you in ways you cannot predict yet. Because miracles don't always announce themselves before arriving. Sometimes they appear quietly in ordinary moments and change your entire life forever. And who knows? Maybe the very thing you've been praying for is already moving toward you right now. Maybe today is not an ordinary day after all. Maybe today is the day life finally surprises you in the best possible way. There's a kind of peace that enters your life when you finally realize not everything is yours to control. And honestly, that realization can change everything. Because most people are exhausted not from life itself, but from trying to carry the weight of every possible outcome on their shoulders. They overthink every conversation, every delay, every uncertainty. They try to predict the future before it happens. They replay problems in their minds all day long as if worrying hard enough will somehow protect them from pain. But at some point you have to ask yourself, how much of your life have you missed because you were too busy fearing what could go wrong? Faith changes everything because faith changes you. It changes the way you wake up in the morning. It changes the way you speak to yourself during hard moments. It changes the way you walk through uncertainty. Fear makes life feel heavy. Faith makes life feel possible again. And no, faith is not pretending everything is perfect. Faith is choosing to believe there is still hope even when things are unclear. It's looking at a difficult season and saying, "This is not the end of my story." People often think faith means never feeling doubt, never feeling sadness, never struggling emotionally. But real faith is continuing forward even while your heart feels uncertain sometimes. Real faith is taking a deep breath when life feels overwhelming and trusting that somehow things will work out in ways you cannot yet see. That kind of trust is powerful because it gives you strength before the evidence even appears. The truth is, life will always give you reasons to worry. There will always be something unfinished, something uncertain, something you wish would happen faster. If you wait for perfect conditions before allowing yourself peace, you'll spend your whole life emotionally exhausted. That's why faith matters so much. Faith allows you to breathe even in the middle of waiting. It reminds you that delays are not always failures. Sometimes life is protecting you, preparing you, or redirecting you towards something better than what you originally imagined. And let's be honest, people lose themselves when fear becomes their daily mindset. Fear convinces you to expect disappointment before anything even happens. It tells you not to trust opportunities, not to believe compliments, not to hope too much because maybe you'll get hurt again. Fear makes people emotionally guarded, but faith softens the heart again. Faith says, "I know life has hurt me before, but I still believe beautiful things are possible for me." That kind of mindset changes the way you experience everything. Suddenly you stop treating every setback like proof your future is ruined. You stop assuming closed doors mean your life is falling apart. Instead, you begin understanding that some things ending are actually making room for better things to arrive. And sometimes what feels painful in one moment later becomes the very thing that leads you toward your greatest growth. There are moments in life when you simply have to release the need to understand everything immediately. Not every chapter will make sense while you're living through it. Some answers only become clear later. Some lessons only reveal their purpose with time. Faith is trusting the process even before the full picture appears. And maybe this is the reminder your soul needs today. You do not have to carry tomorrow's fears today. You do not have to solve your entire future tonight. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to trust. You are allowed to believe that things can still work out beautifully for you, even if the path looks uncertain right now. Think about how different your life would feel if you approached each day with faith instead of constant fear. Imagine waking up without immediately expecting stress. Imagine believing that something good could happen at any moment. Imagine trusting that opportunities, healing, love, and peace are not as far away as your anxiety keeps telling you. That shift alone changes your energy in ways you cannot imagine. Because faith does not just affect your thoughts, it affects your presence. People who carry faith move differently. They still have struggles, but they are not destroyed by every obstacle. They know difficult moments are temporary. They understand that life can change suddenly. They trust that one unexpected blessing can rewrite an entire season of pain. And here's something beautiful about life. Sometimes the moment you stop panicking is the moment things finally begin falling into place. Sometimes your breakthrough arrives after you finally surrender the pressure, after you finally stop trying to force every answer, after you finally say, "I trust that what's meant for me will arrive at the right time." So, if your heart has been tired lately, hold on to this. Your story is still unfolding. Just because you cannot see the full picture yet does not mean nothing meaningful is happening. Some of the best things in life are being prepared quietly behind the scenes. Your healing, your growth, your opportunities, your next chapter. Faith changes everything because it changes the way you see yourself, the way you see life, and the way you see the future. And once you stop allowing fear to control your thoughts, you create space for peace, clarity, and unexpected blessings to enter your life again. So breathe deeply tonight. Relax your heart. Trust a little more. Life is not over. In fact, this may be the very season where everything finally begins to change in your favor.